Welcome to the Shower Epiphanies podcast, where we explore your hidden thoughts and desires, revealing your greatest drop the mic moments. Now, here's your host, Art Costello.
Welcome to the Shower Epiphanies podcast. Today, I am honored and thrilled to have Stenetta Anthony as our guest. Stenetta has been an elementary school teacher for more than 20 years and a published author of several children's books, including the heartwarming new release, A Home for Sally. Stenetta's life work is to educate, advance, and create awareness of moral, social, and religious ideas through her writings. She is a member of the Nonfiction Authors Association and has been featured on multiple media outlets throughout the country. Her life belief comes from P.L. Travers: in every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. Stenetta currently resides in the greater Chicago area with her husband, children, and grandchildren. Welcome to the show, Stenetta. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hi, Art. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you today?
I am great, and we'll get right into this book because I am an animal lover and particularly a dog lover. And if my audience that has read my blog knows that about 3 years ago, I had a giant schnauzer by the name of Chloe. And Chloe was 155 pounds of pure energy.
Wow.
Just a huge animal, but one of the most loving hearts. And I wrote a blog when she passed away about 5 years ago that was called My 10-Year Love Affair. And get a chance, go read it, because it's a tearjerker. And if I tell you, I'll start crying. But animals are my passion. I love them, and particularly dogs. So you and I have a lot in common. So can you tell us how this journey started for you?
Well, it's actually started in the classroom with my little pupils. And so I always figured myself as a storyteller because I like to convert stories and make them my own. So the three bears, they were never told the traditional way. Did something a little different with them. And I always did that with my children in the classroom. And so we were always creating stories and having fun like that. And one day I was actually asked by my church to create a curriculum for a Bible character. And I did that, but I never submitted the official story. And after I did that, I let that story kind of sit on the shelf because I never considered myself as a writer. I'm an educator. I'm going to retire as an educator, and that's going to be that. And I love my children. So about a year later, I was reading that particular story to a friend, and she asked me, where did I get that book? And I said, oh, I wrote it. That was my first book. And so she encouraged me with a little hesitancy from me. She encouraged me to publish that particular book, and I did. And I was so happy I did because after that, it was just, I could say like a rose kind of opens up. It was just an opening up for writing for me. And I just started writing everything. I could find stories about everything. And so that's my journey. So it's not a traditional one where I always wanted to be a writer and everything like that. No, it was a push.
Isn't it funny when we make that initial breakthrough on something like writing a book? Same thing with me. I went through some emotional events, and through that process, I started writing. It was rather easy for me to take it and publish it because it just kind of all fit together. But I've talked to enough people and authors that it seems like once they make that breakthrough, that they feel like their work, they get reinforcement from other people that their work is credible, that it's beneficial to other people, that it just really takes off, and you shed that fear. Because fear is what stops us all from doing the things that we're really, truly meant to do in our life.
And that is true.
So I'm glad you broke through it.
I'm glad I did too. I'm sure my students did too, because I don't want to call them my guinea pigs, but they had to listen to every story that I wrote. But they're my audience, so I need them to tell me whether they like it or they don't like it, and they are truly, truly honest with me when they don't like something.
That is the beauty of children. They are brutally honest.
They are.
That's a blessing to have a built-in audience to critique your work before you release it.
Yes, it is. It is. Because they do tell you if they don't like the story, they don't like the pictures. They tell you the whole gamut. I've been told I don't like anything. In A Home for Sally, which is my latest book, I had a student to say, I don't like it. I don't like one bit of it. And I was like, oh my goodness. But I think he was having a sleepy day. I think it was a sleepy day for him. So
The need to have closure in any given situation is sheer human nature. And when it comes to romantic relationships, this desire skyrockets. Has your previously failed relationship left you in immense pain? It's not uncommon for people to shy away from a new relationship after their first one fails miserably. The fear of the unknown makes them hide in a shell to prevent any future heartbreak. Relatable? Despite wanting to love and be loved, you can't take the plunge if your mind and heart are still locked somewhere in the past. Maybe you aren't aware of the power of releasing the past, or perhaps you don't know how to do it. Art Costello in his online course teaches the art of moving on from bad places to happier, more stable ones. This course can change your life for good, helping you beat all kinds of negativity on the road to eternal bliss. Sign up now before the gloominess gets the better of you at expectationacademy.com.
What led you to write the book that you are now about dogs and how dogs help us heal?
well, it's kind of twofold. One is because I'm teaching special education. I thought about all of the children that are in special education and what they go through, and then writing something that will connect with them, that looks similar to them. And so that's what actually started me on writing this particular book. And also I would watch adoption shows on television, Saturday morning television, and they would always show, I guess, the healthier dogs. And I would sit there and wonder, saying, where are the other dogs? And I understood completely that you want to put your best foot forward because you want to have dogs adopted. But I still wondered about, what about the other dogs who are in the shelter? What's going on with them? And what about the ones that are blind? What are the, those things like that. And so that actually pushed me to write this book and promote that particular cause.
That's amazing. Because dogs and animals in general, when I was a little boy, I was 9 years old and I was abandoned and had to figure out life on my own. And one of the things that I did is I had at the time, an English setter, and his name was Freckles. And I used to sit and talk to Freckles, but my biggest, I don't know what the word I want to use, the biggest animal that I actually would go talk to was my brother had a horse, and his name was Tico. And I would go down and pour my heart out to Tico sometimes. And he would just stand there and you could literally see a tear drop down from his eye. And he'd put his head on my shoulder. And, it's amazing how animals connect with us and how unconditional their love is for us. And, and that's the beauty of it. How do you think that translates into healing?
Okay, so with healing, after I wrote this book, actually, I didn't do prior research about healing and emotions and everything. But after I did, and I seen the connection of the importance of healing. And so one of them is what you were previously saying about the bond. And you could pour out your heart to this horse. And so that's the one thing with the healing. You can pour out your heart to an animal. You could pour out your heart to your dogs. And they're not going to look at you any different. They're not going to judge you for what you say. If you're crying, if you're on the floor, if you're screaming, if you're hollering, whatever you need to do, that dog is going to help you through that process. And you're allowing yourself to be open and vulnerable. And so that's a big part of the healing, I feel, between a human and a dog and how they can heal you. Because healing is a mind, body, soul, and spirit. And so you can have one part of you heal Your body may be healed, but your emotions may not be healed.
Exactly.
And so your dog helps you to get those emotions out, whatever they are, so that's a part of the healing. And scientists have proved over the years that there is a definite connection between emotional healing and physical healing and how they are connected one with the other.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question that you'll probably find maybe a little strange, but I've always felt that there's a connection between God, animals, and humans, that God places animals in front of us so we can speak to them, and he uses animals to hear our pleas.
I definitely agree, because we are all creatures, and I truly believe that we were all creatures who were created by God. And so I believe that he purposely did that for us to be emotionally connected one with the other. And so I don't think it's strange. I don't think it's a strange question at all, because you can fall in love, just like you fall in love with a human, you can fall in love with a dog.
Oh,
and
yes.
That is your passion. And when that dog or animal passes on, you still feel the same emotions that you feel if a human would pass along. It may be a little different, but you still have that feeling of loss and loneliness, that I have lost someone that is truly connected with me. And for non-pet owners or people who've never had a pet, that may be strange, but it's so real. It's so real. And you can't push aside people's emotions.
Yeah, and you can't push aside an animal's emotions too. My Chloe would know when I was sad. She would know when I was happy. She was able to sense who I was at any particular time, and she reacted to that. She would, when my wife passed away in 2006 of ovarian cancer, Chloe was probably as sad as I was. And it just amazed me that when the EMS would come to our home, here's this big 155-pound giant schnauzer who would be just, Vicky, when she was sick, Chloe guarded her. And when Vicky would get really sick and I'd have to call EMS, the EMS would come in, and you know how they come into the house. They've got stretchers, they've got all their luggage and baggage and everything that they carry with them. And there's firemen, there's
Right.
8 or 10 of them in the house. She would not bark. She would go sit in the corner of our bedroom and watch every move that those firemen and EMS guys would do working on her. And the EMS and firemen would say, that is one amazing animal. She just sits there and watches every move, because she knew that they were there to help, and that she just had an incredibly intuitive behavior for an animal. And I was always surprised at how intuitive she was. It just amazed me.
And you know what? That is amazing about animals, that they are so in touch. Sometimes they're more in touch with how we feel emotionally than we are even ourselves. So yeah, it's just a phenomenal thing. It's phenomenal.
Has anyone ever inspired you to discover a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled you? It is a magical experience, isn't it? Inspiration is indeed very powerful, yet it's often undermined. It can lift you from the ground to the sky in no time. Have you ever thought about returning the favor by inspiring the people around you? If you don't think you have it in you, we have good news for you. Art Costello's online course has everything you need to learn to supercharge yourself and shape your character into a powerful personality. Get ready to discover your strengths and unleash the creativity within. Don't believe it? Check it out yourself by signing up for this life-changing course at expectationacademy.com. That's expectationacademy.com.
Do you have animals consistently throughout your life?
I've had them here and there. recently I wanted to adopt a poodle, but it just wasn't the right time. We were a little busy, and we discussed it, me and my husband, and he would say, well, we're not going to be at home, so who's going to take care of them?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
haven't had one, and so I felt that that was a little unfair to bring a pet into the home. That was just my personal decision, that it was unfair to bring a pet into the home. And we were fair.
I agree because, I've always lived in kind of semi-rural areas and always had a big piece of land and all that. So I've always been able to have that. But I've had dogs most of my life that I've had, and they're just amazing animals when it comes to. But then again, I believe it's the same as human beings. If we love them, just as we would love ourselves and love God, animals will love us back.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true.
What are some of the benefits you think of having animals is versus not having them? I mean, I know we've talked some of it.
Well, one of them is they make you exercise because you got to take them out for a walk. If you have a dog, you got to take a dog out for a walk. So if you don't feel like walking, that's actually one of the benefits. And another one is, of course, social. Dogs make you be social, because when you're out walking with your dog, you may run into another person who has a dog, and then that causes you to have that where you're going to have a conversation. You're like, we're going to talk about what's going on with your dog. How are you treating your dog, and things like that. So if you're not social, it will help you be social. And then also it helps you with depression. I believe a dog helps you with, when you're going through depression, you can rub them and comfort them. And while you're comforting them, they're comforting you as well. And so it's a lot of things that there is that's connected with if you have a dog. One is anxiety. Maybe you're feeling anxious about something. And if you have that dog right there beside you, you can rub your anxiety away. I'm going to say it like that. You can rub your anxiety away. And so what is it called? It's a scientific, but I call it the happy mood. And so it'll bring you into that happy mood where you're not feeling anxious or depressed anymore. So those are some of the things that I do. And then there's a scripture in the Bible also where I'm going to back it up about friendship, where it said to show yourself friendly. Your dog helps you to be friendly. So if you don't want to be friendly, it helps you to be friendly. So those are some of the things I believe are the benefits.
Yeah, there's so much truth in that, because if you go to a dog park, you socialize with other dog owners, and it just opens up so many areas for human connection. Animals have a way of transcending.
Right.
I know when I would take Chloe for a walk around Town Lake in Austin, and it's a big, huge walking area. It's probably encompasses like 5 miles if you walk the whole circuit. And the people would be jogging, and they would stop and they would go, what kind of dog is that? And I'd say giant schnauzer. And they would go, yes. Oh my God, I've never seen a schnauzer that big. And I'd say, well, there isn't many that I know that are that big. But it would always open up lines of communication. So it was really great.
Don't know which direction you want your life to take? Are you sinking deep down into the pit of uncertainties day by day? So, what's the secret to leading a happy, satisfied life? It's taking matters into your own hands. But what if the matters in question are a total blur? Art Costello's Expectation Academy course aims to tell you exactly how you can get some clarity in your life. This course can be your savior on your journey to reinventing yourself. While you certainly can't plan your whole future ahead, you can definitely control twists and turns your life takes. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for this course now at expectationacademy.com. Get a chance to broaden your horizons and add meaning to your life. That's expectationacademy.com.
Let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about your book. Can you kind of give us a synopsis of the book and what A Home for Sally is about and how it works?
Okay, so Sally is a special needs puppy, and she is surrendered to an adoption facility. And that was because her owner was no longer able to keep her and her puppies. And her siblings. Mm-hmm. And so Sally's siblings were all adopted because they didn't look like Sally. Sally, her adoption story is a little different from everyone else's that's in the shelter. And so with Sally, she was made fun of by humans and other dogs. And so she went through some emotional challenges. She felt rejected. She had low self-esteem. It was just a lot going on with Sally. And she felt that no one really wanted her. And so, the director of the adoption facility was always nice to Sally, but Sally wanted to be accepted by everyone, and she wasn't. And so that transcends with humans. We want to be accepted by everyone, but sometimes we're not. She has a good ending, though. But yeah, she went through a lot. And so Sally, I equate her to some of my emotions that I've felt throughout my lifetime. And that's, I guess, about the gist of her story.
What is the thing that you would like for people to take away from this book?
The things that I like to take away is to be empathetic. You need to be empathetic to dogs that are in shelters who look a little different, because Sally looks a little different from everyone. And then the other thing is expressing love. Every dog, every human needs love. And so you should be doing that. The other thing is looking beyond personal appearance. Because sometimes we'll gasp or we'll stare when someone or something looks a little different from us. And so that's what I want people to take away from her story. And adoption. I want them to take away the importance of pet adoption and how many pets are sitting even today waiting that are caged and can't move around, have no freedom, have no family. And what can we do to facilitate that as a person or as a community?
Those are all really great social and personal goals that we all should have, to look beyond the exterior and look deeper into the things that we care about and the things that socially matter to us. So this is a social lesson in really how to live and guide. And is the book more geared towards, I'm assuming that it's more geared towards children than it is than adults, but it's something that all adults could learn in reading it to their child or being involved with their children.
And it's geared more toward children, but it is something that an adult can open up a conversation about, because when I go out to visit schools, I have a finger that is, I call it my handicap finger now, because it's unusual. And so I used to didn't like this finger because it's a middle finger and I can never put it down. It always stands at attention. And so when I was in school and I held my finger out, people would thought I was saying a bad word, but I really wasn't. And so when I'm talking about Sally's story, I always bring my own personal story into it, because we all have something. It just can be a minor thing that we have something that we don't like about ourselves and that we have to overcome. And so it's for children, but adults can see where, okay, I see myself in here too, and this is something I can overcome, and this is something where we can talk about. It gives the door for talking about special needs, not just a special needs pet, but a special needs person or a child, and how we should treat them how they want to be loved, how they feel that I may look different, but I'm not different. I'm the same as everyone else. And so it can go both ways. It can go both ways, but mainly for children.
That's a beautiful thought. And with that being said, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can visit my website, which is stenettaanthony.weebly.com. You can find me on social media. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So I had to think it's a lot.
Can your books be purchased on Amazon?
They are on Amazon. I know currently, because of everything that's going on, they're only available through Kindle. Mm-hmm. But that's only just until we come out of our pandemic, I believe, that they will convert back over.
Okay. All right. With that being said, thank you for being on the show. It's really been a blessing to have you here. And I'm going to encourage the audience to reach out and get Stenetta's book. Share it with not only your own family, but share it with their teachers and their administrators at their school, so this book can get out and into the mainstream and teach the valuable lessons that we have. Thank you, Stenetta, for being on the show today. I really am blessed to have you here. Everybody will be able to find Stenetta's contact information in the show notes. And we thank you again. And with that being said, everybody knows where they can get a hold of me. Art at Expectation Therapy is my email. Expectationtherapy.com is the website. And with that being said, thank you. Heather White, go ahead and take us out of here.
Thanks for listening to the show. Drop us your comments and questions with what you want answered on the show. You can subscribe on iTunes and Binge Network. You can also get more information on the website, expectationtherapy.com.